Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Season 10, Episode 52, overall 547 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Automall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with a great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac vehicles as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family-run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969, and yours truly has been a customer of Barry Cullen Chevrolet since 2000, so 25 years as a Barry Cullen customer, and they do provide great service and great vehicles. And check out Matt Goldsmith and Greg Smith, their service consultants down at Barry Cullen Chevrolet. I hope everyone is doing well on this. I can't believe it's already Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. And I'm excited about my guest today. This is her first appearance, and we met through Facebook. And she is a stand-up comedian based out of Seattle, Washington. And her name is Meaghan Elwood. And we're going to bring her on now. We're going to talk a little bit about her comedy career and how she got into the industry, and also maybe a little bit about being based out of Seattle, Washington as well. We're going to bring on Meaghan Elwood right now. Good afternoon. How are you? How are you?
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And how are things in your part of the world?
It's beautiful today. We've had a heat wave lately. We've actually turned on the AC, and it's summer in Seattle. We shine at this point of the year.
It's kind of been a rainy May and June here in Ontario so far. And today it's actually been sunny and warm, but it's going to get overcast and rainy again by the weekend.
Oh, get out while you can.
Absolutely. Since you mentioned you're from Seattle, Washington, what makes it such a great place to live and work in?
Well, gosh, that's a big question. Seattle has changed a lot since I moved here. I've been here for over 40 years, and it's changed a lot. There's been a real influx of tech money and tech industry, but it's still a beautiful place. We're right near the water, and people can be skiing or sailing or hiking in less than an hour in every direction. So it's good that way.
What are some of the favorite, besides doing comedy, what are some of the favorite things you like doing in Seattle in the state of Washington?
Let's see. Gosh, I do. Well, everyone says hiking, so I'm not going to say hiking. What do I enjoy doing? It's a great restaurant city, actually. My husband is a big foodie, and so we go to a lot of the great restaurants in our area. We live in a really, really nice neighborhood called Queen Anne, and it's we're able to walk to restaurants and parks and things like that. So it's fun. But mostly I enjoy doing comedy.
What's your favorite food in Seattle?
You know, I'm a really great cheap date because most gals would want to go to an expensive steakhouse. I love ethnic food. There is a place called Thai Tom, and it's on the university, in the University District on the Ave. It probably has 6 tables, and the guy's right there with the 6-burner cooktop right in front of you, and it's just amazing food. So that's what I love. I love kind of a hole in the wall little unknown joint. I'm not fancy.
And you're 40. That's okay too. I like my steak as well, but since you've been in Seattle for 40 years, have you found that diversity has grown in Seattle and in the state of Washington?
Yeah, I think, well, we were addressing diversity until a while ago. Yeah, I mean, well, and like even when you talk about restaurants, yes, there has been an incredible amount of diversity in the time that I've lived here. It used to be you would have diners or a fancy restaurant, and now you've got all of these great middle of the road options that are really, really good ethnic food, ethnic restaurants. Yeah.
Have to ask you this too. Are you a sports fan by any chance?
I do enjoy sports. My husband's not a huge sports fan. And so I don't watch sports as much as I used to. I used to play a lot of tennis. I still love to watch tennis. And my ex-husband actually made all of the Seattle Mariners TV commercials for 25 years. So I got fairly enmeshed in the Mariners organization during that time. And now we've got the Kraken. Now we've got the hockey,
Hockey.
which is really fun. I think Kraken's kind of a weird name, but yes, we've got the Kraken at Climate Pledge Arena, which is a super cool venue. And yeah, so it's nice to live in a city that's got lots of sports fans.
And you got the Seattle Seahawks as well, Super Bowl champion. They won it 10 years ago. And I think Seattle's going to have an NBA team again as well at some point.
I sure hope so. I was here when the Sonics won the championship.
79,
Yes.
1979.
Oh my word.
I was
are a fan. That is crazy that you know that. I had to look it up the other day.
I was 7 years old, by the way. So It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Hey, quick story for you. I covered the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. We have our own Baseball Hall of Fame here, like Cooperstown in the States. And I got to meet one of my childhood idols, Lloyd Moseby, who played for the Toronto Blue Jays in 1980. And I got to meet him 45 years later. So it was kind of neat meeting somebody that you idolized as a kid 45 years later.
Did he live up to your image of him?
Yes, he did. He did, and he goes, I don't quite remember you. I've lost my hair, and I said, yeah, I put on some weight since then. But it was just nice to shake hands with him, and I brought the photo from 1980, and he was all happy about it. So it was great to reconnect with a childhood idol from 45 years later.
What a neat story. That's cool.
And that's what I love about doing this talk show is the story aspect from all my guests and sharing my experience as well.
Mm-hmm. We're all fascinating.
Absolutely. Everybody has a story to share.
Mm-hmm. There used to be a TV show where they would go to a random small town in America and get the white pages. Sorry, kids, you'll have to ask your parents what the white pages are. And they would just pick a random number and start talking to anyone, and they would find their story because everyone truly does have something that's remarkable about them.
100%. Meaghan, since I'm based out of the Toronto, Ontario area, can you just tell my audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Meaghan Elwood, and I am a stand-up comedian. I started doing this 11 years ago when my baby left for college. I had been encouraged by friends for about 20 years before that to try stand-up, and I ran out of excuses. I always knew I was funny. This is a little bit vulnerable, but growing up as a child, I think I used humor to get my mom's attention. I had heard somewhere that if you can make a woman laugh, you can get her to do anything. Have you heard that?
Yes, I have.
And a lot of mornings, I just needed some breakfast and a ride to school. So we all do what we have to do to get our mom's attention, right? And my mom actually ended up being my #1 fan. She used to say, just go up there and do your best and have fun. And don't worry, no one's going to laugh at you. So I'm not sure she really got it, but that's okay. She was a cheerleader all the same. So yeah, let's see. I'm kind of slowly now in the moving into the role of headliner. I'm headlining a show this evening, and I'm headlining two other shows in the next week and a half. So that's kind of where my meteoric rise to mediocrity has taken me. And I just love doing it. I love doing it. I love doing it on any scale. I feel like making people laugh is kind of like, when you get that itch on your back and you can't quite reach it. I
Yes.
feel like I can help people reach that spot on. Like a lot of times you can't make yourself laugh. I can't, but a lot of people can't conjure up laughter on their own. And so I like kind of helping people get into that state, because I really do feel like there's a power in sitting with a group of people and sharing a laugh. It's a really connecting experience.
Meaghan, can you explain to my audience a little bit of the difference of being funny in front of family and friends, but actually being funny in front of an audience? Like what the adjustment is from doing it on stage to just like family and friends or coworkers?
That's a really, really good question, because I've had so many people say to me, well, I can be funny. I can do it just with you, but I could never do an audience of 800 people. And I've always wondered, like, at what point, so you're here and then your brother walks in and then your dad walks in. At what point does it become a crowd? And I'm not sure what the answer is to that question. I think in general, people tend to get uncomfortable with the idea. I guess at some point there's a tipping point and it becomes public speaking. And that's where people are intimidated by it. I personally am not, but I think when you're doing it professionally, if you're at Thanksgiving, nobody's expecting you to be funny. And if people have hired you to do a show and they've sold tickets, they are expecting you to show up with tried and true material that is guaranteed to get a laugh every time. And also when you're dealing with bigger crowds, I think a wise comedian would work to be sensitive to topics that are universal. I mean, I talk about aging, and guess what? Whether or not you want to admit it, we're all aging. So that's universal, or families, or dating, or your parents, or all those kinds of things. I can be judgmental in private, but I try not to be judgy in my public persona, because it doesn't serve me well to isolate or alienate anyone who I'm talking to.
Meaghan, I've had different comedians on from Canada and the States and even the UK. What is more difficult to perform in front of a big, large audience or a smaller audience?
Gosh, see, I know a lot of comedians who are kind of in it because they want the fame and adulation. I am only in this because God gave me a gift of bringing levity to any and all situations. I am as happy sitting on a bus stop like Forrest Gump and talking to one person as I am doing a theater show and making 800 people laugh. The only thing that I could think of, though, if I had to pick a side, is it's really hard to do a small show when it's not supposed to be a small show. When you're at a theater that holds 100 and you've got 30, I personally just feel like, wow, we could have done better. But it'll still be a great show.
Has this ever happened to you, or have you seen another comedian do it, where they've had stage fright, where they kind of shrunk on the spotlight, where they were funny off stage, but as soon as they got in front of an audience, they just kind of froze up?
I make myself stay real, and I go to an open mic a couple times a month just to dip my toe in that pond and remember where I came from. And so you definitely see that all the time. I think that there's that first time experience when you get on stage and you think you know what it's going to be like, and then you're looking at a sea of faces and it's a very different reality all of a sudden. But at my level, people don't really you're out by this point if you're going to get stage fright.
How long does it take for you as a comedian to engage an audience's mood?
To engage an audience's mood, I guess you would say, like, to kind of evaluate or discern what an audience's mood is. I try to make the audience's mood what I want it to be right away by engaging with them, making eye contact, asking some questions. Jerry Seinfeld said that comedy is a dialogue. It's not a monologue. So I'm trying to make kind of manufacture my own reality as far as what the vibe in the room is. It does happen every once in a while. I did a show at a club in Tri-Cities, Washington about 6 months ago. And it was good. It was packed, but for whatever reason, it was Friday night, and I just felt like everyone was kind of tired, and I couldn't get it up. So yeah, that's never ideal when it happens, but it does happen to everyone, and luckily, it's very infrequently that happens.
I have some people watching our show live stream right now on Instagram, and one of the gentlemen's names is Ralph James, and he just said, "I find it tough to energize a small audience." And then Ralph says, "I set the mood."
Yeah, exactly. Sounds like Ralph knows what he's doing.
I have to ask you this as well. I know every comedian, everybody's different, but do you have any rituals or superstitions before a live performance to kind of help you stay calm and focused and relaxed?
What I really am trying to do before a show, for the few hours before a show, is just conserve my energy. I'm kind of in my head a lot and thinking through my material. I put my headphones on. I have an hour and a half recording of the material that I mostly cover right now. I probably have 4 hours of material total, but so I kind of like to get my brain and my gears turning and be thinking in that way for a few hours before a show. I don't ever like to rush and come screeching in having been in traffic. So the show I'm doing tonight, it's at 7 p.m. I won't go on probably until 8, but I have this whole thing where I count back. Like, it's in Kirkland, so I know I have to get there at 6:30. I have to leave at 5:30. I do love my Starbucks mocha, double shot mochas. I call those liquid enthusiasm, and they make it work every time. Do you like those too? They're
I
really,
used to I used to drink them, but I had to give them up, but they are good.
I know. And I just do not want to hear from my doctor that I have to give them up. So I only do it before a show, and it's only because I have to get up early with my husband in the morning.
You just said Kirkland, Washington. Is that the home of Costco? I'm sure it is.
Yes, well, Kirkland brand. Kirkland brand is what Costco, all of their private label stuff is. And actually, Kirkland is from Seattle. The first Costco was actually on 4th Avenue South in downtown Seattle. And that opened in, gosh, I don't know, 89 or something. I mean, in the 80s, I believe. But
See,
yes,
that's what.
Kirkland brand is, they made Kirkland famous. And
And that,
actually, there's kind of a sports tie-in. My show tonight is at a place called Five Iron Golf. I think it's one of those big virtual golf palaces, and then they have a theater area.
are you a golfer? Or are your husband a golfer? Or anyone in your family?
I have 2 boys, and they are golf fanatics. My son will get up at 5 a.m. so he can golf for an hour or so before he starts his workday. And my ex-husband is a big deal golfer. And yeah, it's a great sport. I mean, it gets you out and walking around. Are you a golfer?
The last time I golfed, the year was 1994. So I haven't golfed in 31 years.
Maybe it's like skiing, though. Maybe the technology that they've developed would kind of meet you halfway, split the
I
difference.
I think it'd be like Adam Sandler's character on Happy Gilmore. I'd be just using a hockey stick and swearing and cutting up the
Exactly.
grass.
Well, it's funny because I'm glad that you're being honest about golf. I took golf lessons years ago, and I asked the guy if he had any tips for me, and he said that maybe I should try soccer. Um, they did this thing where they would record you on a split screen, and they would record your stroke, and then they would show you Tiger Woods' stroke on the screen that was next to you. There was a lot of differences, I noticed. Tiger doesn't stop and wave to friends mid-stroke like I did. And yeah, I had a lot of work to do.
To get back to comedy, Megan, what do you prefer? Do most comedians prefer to open up, be the middle, or do most, including yourself, prefer to be the closing act?
I think people feel like the headliner is the most prestigious. I mean, you obviously have to put the most time in to be a headliner because you have to have the most material. I love being the middle. I mean, the host, I think it's like the headliner has a hard job. The host has a hard job because they go out there cold and get the audience warmed up and kind of set the tone for the whole evening. I love being the middle or the feature, because then I get to do my 30 minutes and then I get to go sit and get a drink and watch the headliner and kind of enjoy the show as well. So that would be my ultimate goal. If I could be well known in Seattle, Washington for companies that had touring headliners, big deal headliners, and then I could just be the middle, I could do that all day long.
How competitive is the comedy industry, and even so, since you started doing this over 11 years ago?
Well, it's funny. About 6 years ago, NBC came to Seattle to do these auditions, and everybody got 1 minute at Laughs Comedy Club. And in that moment, we were all cheering for each other because we were kind of a team as the Seattle comedians, and NBC was the, outside force. And that was a great moment of comedy cohesion to me. But I don't feel like it's competitive. I don't think that people knowingly would do things to try to steal gigs from one another. It is, however, like a game of musical chairs. I mean, there's one spot opening for Kevin Nealon at the Emerald Queen Casino. And if you and I are both features, only one of us is going to get it, like musical chairs. So there is that sense that when somebody gets a gig, you don't. But there's also enough to go around.
Meaghan, I have another question from one of our audience. His name's Ralph James again. He wanted me to ask you, Meaghan, how often do you incorporate new material into your standard set? And he also wanted to make a comment as 30 minutes is impressive.
Oh, well, thank you. Tonight I'll do 45 to an hour, and I truly have a lot of material. I have my book out of sight here, but I'm constantly writing. I mean, I feel like as a comedian, if I were getting my third grade report card, they would say areas of improvement, get on stage more. Because I get on stage maybe a couple nights a week. I think people that are really going for it get on stage 4 or 5 nights a week. I'm constantly polishing rocks in my head. I'm constantly thinking about bits that I'm working on and ways that I can add tags or put a different spin on something. Maybe there's something that I really believe in, a funny line, but it just never gets a laugh. So I have to figure out, that's on me if the audience isn't hearing it as being a funny thing, even though I consider it a funny thing. So I do try to incorporate at least a little twist on each bit every time. It's hard when it's really easy to do the tried and true stuff. I can just kind of pull the string in my back and go on autopilot for 30 minutes and hardly wake up during it because I've done it so many times. But what good comedians do is they go out with a super strong opener and a super strong closer. And then if there's something that you're working on, you kind of put that in the middle, like you would put a pill in cheese for a dog. You kind of hide it in there. And that way, if it doesn't go over well and you are testing material on a paid audience, you can kind of save the show with your intro and closer.
How important is it for a comedian to do their homework on their audience and where they're performing? And I don't know if you've performed outside of Seattle, Washington, but I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Wow. Well, I think a really, really great technique for a comedian is to learn about, if I come to Toronto, to find out a little bit about Toronto so that I can reference your favorite, smoked meat place or your favorite bagel joint or something like that. People feel very seen when you reference landmarks from their city and kind of appear to be in the know. The other thing I was thinking about, I do end up working all over the place. I'm going to be going to New York in a month and doing I've got 2 shows booked in New York. I just actually got chosen to do Chocolate Sundays. Do you know what that is? It's a show at the Laugh Factory, and it's really, 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 really hard to get on. So I just got a date last week, which is November 9th. Wait for it.
Congratulations.
2031.
2031. Wow.
I have to stay alive. I'm going to eat right and exercise so that I can make that. Yeah, they book it 5 years out.
Wow. I did not know that. And that Laugh Factory is in what? Los Angeles, Burbank?
Yeah, Laugh Factory. It's a big deal. So it'll be fun to just get on their stage. My goal really is to just have the trophy. I want a little clip and a still photo of me standing on that stage. And then I'm doing in New York, I'm going to do Broadway Comedy Club. I've got a showcase set and the comic strip. And then yesterday when we're in Halifax, I booked 2 nights that I'm going to do at Yuck Yucks in Halifax. And that's
Awesome.
August 1st and 2nd.
Awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, so I work. My husband loves to travel, so I do Camito tourism. Is that a thing? I'm going to make it a thing. Yeah, anytime we're going somewhere, I always call around to the local clubs to see if I can get on. Oh, and I was going to say, so I try to be aware of what's going on in the city. I don't really get into, there's no way to really study the audience until you can kind of peek out from behind the curtain and say, wow, they're very young, they're very old, they're all women, whatever. And you might adjust a little bit that way. I did have an interesting experience. A couple of years ago, I did a show in Vancouver, BC, with my friend Tally Perry from Chill Pill Comedy. And I tell a joke about a program you don't have apparently, but we do for road navigation. And it's called Waze. And I do this whole joke about Waze. And I was just getting blank stares. And I realized they don't have Waze here. They don't know what I'm talking about. So things like that, probably one could do a little better due diligence and research to make sure that what you're referencing is something that everyone knows about.
Meaghan, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Since you've been doing stand-up comedian comedy for over 11 years, how much would you say you've improved over the years as a comedian?
Wow. Well, I will let your viewers be the judge of that. I'm brave enough that my YouTube channel has my very, very, very first open mic set that I did as part of the graduation for my intro to comedy class. And that was in 2014. And you know what? I wouldn't put it up there if it was horrible. It's not horrible. I got laughs. I think the nerves definitely dissipate. I don't get nervous any longer. And you're also able, I think in the beginning, you're almost just more reciting comedy to get through it. I mean, you've practiced, you've tried it out on friends, but it's just more reciting. And now I feel like I can really riff with the audience and think on my feet a little bit more and do things just off the top of my head.
How important is ad-libbing it for a comedian?
Well, I don't know that it's important. Well, you kind of have to roll with the punches, right? I mean, if you've just got your prepared speech and someone's breaking glasses all over the room, or a fight breaks out, or someone's yelling at you, I guess, you're not on a screen. You're real people breathing the same air in the same room at the same time. So you always have to remain cognizant of that and react accordingly.
Ralph James, who's watching again on Instagram. Thank you, Ralph. He wants to mention that he has a show in New York City, in Washington, D.C. in mid-July. And then Ralph wants to ask you, Meaghan, how can I watch your show tonight? Is it available live streamed, or is it just in person only?
It is actually just in person only. And that's an interesting question, because I think that during the pandemic we had to adapt, right? So there were a lot more live stream Zoom shows and that kind of thing. And then on the flip side, now if you go to Comedy Works in Denver or Acme Comedy Club, they actually take your phones during the show. I mean, there's very much this sense of not wanting to feed your material to someone. And I'll tell you why. My number one fear as a comedian is that someone will try to steal my material. And my number two fear as a comedian is that no one will want to steal my material.
I was just about 3 weeks ago. I saw my friend Mary Kennedy, who's a comedian in LA. She
Mm-hmm.
performed at Second City in Toronto, and they let us know right away that once you go in the theater, you can have your phone on you, but you can't record. And I'm like, okay, so everybody agreed with it, and I guess that's the case too, because I've had comedians on, and I asked them why they don't have a YouTube channel, and they're like, we're afraid that if we put stuff on a YouTube channel, somebody will steal our work.
Mm-hmm. And that's I know so many comedians that have had their material plagiarized. My two strategies for avoiding that is that my all of my material is very deep dive biographical about me. So I go out there and I'm like, I'm a mom. And, I don't think that the dudes in hoodies are going to go, I'm a mom. I just don't see that happening. I have 20 something kids. That's a very unique thing. I'm married to a doctor. That's a whole bit that I do that I really doubt anyone is going to A, be into plagiarizing, and B, have exactly my same life. And then I also work really, really hard to have my writing be complex enough that if you really wanted to copy my bit, you'd have to work really hard. You'd have to record it and write it down. I will come up with things and the next day I can't recreate them just the way I came up with the word and the phrasing. Because a lot of times things really are dependent upon your word order and how you say or deliver things.
Meaghan, for those people that are watching our show live stream or on audio today, and they're looking to get into the comedy industry, what advice would you give to them? And how important is the writing aspect of comedy?
Writing is everything. People always say, well, don't you want to use AI for writing? And that's just the saddest idea in the world to me. I love writing. Like during the pandemic, everybody was just thinking thoughts of despair. And I am always in my head thinking about comedy, thinking about ways to write things and say things and deliver things differently. So I would say that writing is key. And if you're asking, like, how would somebody get started? Was that your question, Chris?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So what I always tell people is, I use the notes app on my phone. And if you're sitting at a cafe and something funny happens, somebody says something funny, says something in a funny order, you see a funny exchange between two people, just make a note, Carol told Joan to fuff off or whatever. Make a note of that and then continue to make notes. And then after a while, you'll notice a pattern and you'll say, a lot of these are about my family or my twisted sister or my 20 something kids. And that's where your bits grow out of, right? So then now I have all of these pages and each one has a title at the top, and that is the bit and a particular subject. And then I can kind of take my notes and put them where they need to go and build those little mountains.
Meaghan, if you've got some more time, I'd like to play a clip that you sent me from your YouTube channel, everybody. Meaghan Elwood on YouTube channel. I've already subscribed, so everyone there, please subscribe. And it's, I think the video is called 5 Minutes of Comedy, and thank you for letting me share this with our audience.
Of course.
And I do wear 8 different hats, not just these type of hats, but let me know if you can hear the audio okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Just give me 1 second and we'll get this going. And again, this is courtesy of Meaghan Elwood's YouTube channel. Please subscribe. This is called 5 Minutes of Comedy.
Where that leaves us is that we now have 4 children in their 20s. And so what that means is that we are always out of beer. Anyone here dealing with kids in their 20s? Yeah. Gosh, some of you look like you might be in your 20s. If anyone here, I'm a mom, obviously, so if anyone here needs a ride home or a snack or anything, I have some perfectly good raisins in my purse. I'm not going to help you in the bathroom, though. That was a horrible night. No, No, when you're in your 20s, it's hard because you're kind of a grown-up and you're kind of a child, and you don't really ever know where it's going to land, and it makes for some really weird conversations. The other day, my oldest son said to me, "Stop treating me like I'm a baby," and hell yes, I want an Easter basket. Ladies, there is really nothing in the world that is creepier that you might ever see than a hungover, bearded dude standing in your living room, first thing Easter Sunday morning, holding a sparkly basket of eggs. I'd like to unsee that. I guess when you get to the point that like condoms and edibles and concert tickets start to feel like the right things to be putting in the basket. Probably time to just go ahead and lose that basket, don't you think? So obviously, I am over these big, dumb, smelly old kids. I want cute little kids, you know? Jody was talking about having a grandbaby. I want grandchildren. People always ask me in Dr. Wonderful if we have grandbabies, and we tell them in all honesty, we are trying. We travel all the time, and whenever we get to the airport, to those little check-in kiosk things, there's a box, and it says, add lap infant. And I check it every single time. So nobody's come by with a baby, not even once. I think a lot of us are gonna have to get pretty creative if we wanna retire with any dignity at all. And I'm researching options. Let me share with you what I've found so far. The other day, I read a truly inspirational story about a 68-year-old dominatrix who's been charging men $150 an hour to clean her house. Oh, I love that so much. I could retire tomorrow with those terms, you know? I'm not gonna do it though. I mean, because nobody likes a copycat, and I can't really do the stilettos, you know? I mean, they hurt my lower back. The closest thing that I've been able to come up to with that's close to that would be getting like 300 people that each pay $20 to listen to me just rant about whatever on the stage. So, yeah. I was at my mom's house about 3 years ago, and on her refrigerator she had this obituary, and I said, "Oh, sweetie, did you lose a friend?" And she said, "Oh no, I just like her haircut." If you're getting style cues from the obituaries, that should really tell you something. When I was growing up, a browser, that was just a lady that loitered in a gift shop. And I still remember when a transistor was a kind of radio. These days, I feel like a transistor is a sibling with a big announcement. Thank you so much for having me.
And that was courtesy of Meaghan Elwood's YouTube channel. Meaghan, thoughts on this 5 minutes of comedy, and where was this? Where did this place take place?
Well, I'm happy to report that all of that laughter is natural and unembellished. I know sometimes people will pump up their laughter volume. That was at a theater called Carco, and it's a theater that is in Renton, Washington. And it was with a bunch of shows that I've gotten to do with Moms Unhinged, which is a traveling group of touring moms that work all over the country. Andrea Vall is the woman that has made that whole thing happen, and it's taken off like crazy. A lot of times she'll have 2 or 3 shows going in different cities simultaneously. So that was a Moms Unhinged show.
Since you've been doing comedy now for 11 years, do you find there's more diversity in comedy and more women doing it, and of all ages as well?
I feel like comedy has always been very diverse. I mean, that's what I love about comedy, is that it's a very level playing field. Like, the only way to win at this game is to be really, really funny. Nobody cares what color you are. Nobody cares if you have money or you don't have money, but you have to be funny. You have to earn your seat at the table. Your parents can't buy you a seat. They can't do like the college admissions trick. And we don't even have a rowing team. So obviously it would be impossible. But, so I think that it's always had diversity. What I will say that I'm happy to see happening is that there are a lot of women in comedy. It used to be there would maybe be the token woman on a show, and the show I'm doing tonight is 3 women, not on purpose, just because there was that much talent. And I've always been a real believer. I don't like affirmative action. I don't want to say we need a black, white, yellow, whatever. I want the funniest, best, most qualified people to do everything. If they're all purple, that's what it is. I really, really want to celebrate excellence. And so I think that comedy is doing a good job of advancing those who are good at the craft. I am really, really happy to say, because of me, who I am, there are a lot of older women doing comedy right now. I don't know if you follow Kill Tony, but a couple of weeks ago, there were 2 women that I know in their 50s that were on Kill Tony on the same episode. And another woman I know who's close to me in age was on Kill Tony the next night. So I don't know if that's something that truly is random, or if they're curating that or trying to kind of give more of an audience to those voices.
Currently, who are some of your favorite comedians out there? And are you still a fan of Saturday Night Live, who's celebrating 50 years?
Wow. My favorite comedians. I could talk about comedy forever. My probably all-time favorite comedian is Gary Goldman. His writing is so spectacular. I think he weighs each and every word for content within the context of his sentences. He is from New York. He'll go up 3 or 4 times a night. He is just a master of the craft. I love Tig Notaro. I love her dry, and she's kind of slow delivery. When I started out, I was told I was slow, and I didn't want to change that, and so I didn't. I love Maria Bamford. I love Taylor Tomlinson. I think Mike Birbiglia's The Old Man in the Pool is just a masterclass. I watched it 3 times in 2 days. I love Eliza Schlesinger. I think that her Shark Tank bit on, what was that? Confirmed Kills, I think, is the special. I think her Shark Tank bit is another masterclass in comedy writing. I know I'm leaving a bunch out. I love Sarah Silverman. Gosh, so many. There's so much great comedy right now, and I love great comedy. I don't find very many people funny. I mean, those people that I just mentioned, I could watch them all day long. But when I'm just open mic or a smaller venue comedy show, I don't often find other people funny. And I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I love Anthony Jeselnik.
Put you on the spot here. What makes a very good comedian?
Writing.
The writing aspect.
Yep. And it's so like the Easter basket bit. I don't worry about anybody copying me on that bit because it is on every single recording that I have done. It is kind of the one thing that I've always done, and I love it. My son actually said those exact same words in our kitchen, but then I've spun off and I added the part about the hangover dude standing in your living room. And then if condoms and edibles and concert tickets are right, those are all spin-offs of the original premise or tags. And the more you can add those little tags to something, those are like peaks on the whipped cream. They just make it better.
Meaghan, for those people that have never seen you perform comedy, either in person or on your YouTube channel, how would you describe your comedy style?
Dry and observational. I'm very sarcastic, very dry.
For a comedian, how important is observational skills?
It's as important as breathing. I think we watch things and I think that comedians look at things in a different way. I do interior design also. That's what I studied in school. And so I look at space differently than most people do. And comedians, they listen to what's going on around them and they listen for the funny. And being observation and being sensitive to your surroundings is incredibly important.
What are your thoughts on open mic versus improv? And do you find slapstick comedy, which I grew up in the 70s and 80s, still has a place today?
Yeah, okay, improv. A lot of people I know do improv. It scares the heck out of me. I definitely hide behind my cloak of preparedness. I know exactly what I'm going to say, and I take a great deal of comfort in that. Word for word, I know what I'm going to say. And the idea that I would step out onto a stage and somebody would say, recite Shakespeare in the voice of a chicken, I just think that those ingredients being thrown at me in that challenge, I think I would trip all over it. Slapstick comedy. I mean, when I first think of slapstick, I think of like the Three Stooges or something. And obviously they're no longer with us. Silly comedy. I think of like Impractical Jokers, or something like that. Do you think that maybe they're today's Three Stooges, or?
I think so. I still think there's a place for it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, just silly. And I think now with so much that's heavy that's going on in the world, I think we all just want to look at something that's dumb and silly and just kind of have that moment of release. And so many people have studied what laughter does to the body, and it definitely makes some powerful chemical changes in your brain that are really important for relaxation and a sense of calm and well-being. So it's like medicine. No,
it's like therapy for a lot of people.
Well, now my husband's a doctor and he's an anesthesiologist. So when people say laughter is the best medicine, I think now if he went into a woman who was in labor and said, I can give you the epidural, or I can put on Richard Pryor's Live from Madison Square Garden special, I think he's going to get hit in the head with a DVD cover. I don't think so. I do think medicine is probably the best medicine, but laughter is the best medicine that I am licensed to dispense in the state of Washington.
What do you enjoy the most about being a stand-up comedian?
Wow. Everything. That's my one thing I love, is everything. I love sitting in a dark comedy club. There's something about the anonymity of being in a dark comedy club with low ceilings. You can laugh at things that maybe aren't appropriate, but no one really can see you or know about it. I love watching comedy. I love writing comedy, and I love hanging out with comedians. Comedians are a pretty good hang. If you're driving to a gig with a car full of comedians, bring your Kleenex, because you're probably going to laugh until you cry. And it's fun to hang out with comedians too, because a lot of them are just train wrecks, and next to them, I feel pretty squared away.
What are some differences between West Coast humor and East Coast humor? Have you found that?
Wow. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, maybe in the olden days when people lived more regionally, there were more dramatic differences, probably more regional references to restaurants or politicians or things that were true to one area and not the other. I mean, I know, like, I've done comedy in Los Angeles, and I don't know that it's regionally different in terms of the flavor. I feel like Los Angeles is just a steeper treadmill. It just seems harder somehow, like people are more discriminating, or maybe I was just more nervous. And I'm trying to think. I don't think I've done one show in New York at Broadway Comedy Club, but this two that I do in July will be my second and third. So, and I've done comedy in Chicago at Zanies. I love Zanies. So yeah, I mean, I think good comedy should work anywhere. And that's the other thing too, as a good comedian should be able to meet anyone where they're at and make them laugh. And unfortunately, a lot of times when you start performing, people are like this. And they've got their arms crossed, and you can just tell by their body language that they don't want to like you. I mean, maybe I'm being paranoid, but I feel like what they're thinking is, okay, you're not going to make me laugh. And so then I'm like, okay, hold my beer. I've got to make this guy in the second row laugh right now. I can't leave it alone.
Meaghan, what are some of your upcoming live performances and any plans to do shows more internationally in the future? And if you want to plug your show tonight as well, and for those people that are watching, how can they get tickets for tonight's performance?
Well, that is an excellent question. So tonight I am headlining a show at a place called Five Iron Golf, which is in Kirkland, Washington at 7 p.m. And that is produced by a gal. Her name is Dani, D-A-N-I, Dani Marie. And I told you you know how people say that you're a shameful self-promoter? I'm a shameful self-promoter instead of a shameless self-promoter. So yeah, Dani Marie LLC is the booker producer that's putting the show on. And I think she has a website because she does a lot in this area. And then I'm doing another show with her on the 18th, and that is at a club called 425 Winery. And then I will be performing in Juneau, Alaska on June 23rd at the famous Alaskan Hotel, which is haunted. If you haven't been there, don't come to see my comedy. Just come to check out that bar. It looks like something out of Pirates of the Caribbean, and it is very much a constant site for those ghost hunters shows that they do. They go there a lot because it's been around since the gold rush. So it's got a lot of history.
Since you like traveling, what has been some of your favorite countries you've been to so far?
Wow. Well, let's see. We just went to Thailand a couple of months ago. That was pretty fun. That same month, we went to the Dominican Republic because I have relatives that live there. Been to Europe. I really want to go to Scotland. I want to go to the Fringe Festival. Have you ever heard of that? It lasts for 30 days, and a lot of my friends have done it. Edinburgh Fringe.
No, I haven't, but I know one of my friends who's a comedian is going to be in Edinburgh, Scotland for the next 20 days performing her show. So
exactly. Yeah, you commit for a long time. And big deal comedians do it. Is that the same Mary Kennedy?
Kennedy, yes. And you should check her out. She's really good, and she's a good person as well. And her birthday is the same day as mine, June 29th.
Wow. Well, gosh, happy almost birthday.
Thank you. I'll be turning the big 53, so I made it 53.
Wow.
I think I made 53. I still got a couple more
to grow up.
No, I'm not doing that now. I'm living more life now than I was when I was in my 20s and 30s, to be honest.
Isn't that funny? You're always so afraid of what the future will look like, and then you get there and it's like, it's fine.
Absolutely. And I do this with all my guests when I wrap up a show. What are some fun facts about Meaghan Elwood and maybe the state of Washington?
Wow, fun facts. Gosh, that's interesting. Let's see. I'm an obsolete white mom. Gosh, fun facts. So I should have studied up on your questions before this. Fun
Well,
facts are she doesn't like discussing herself. She doesn't like to be the center of attention. How ironic is that? I only stand on stage because I want to make people laugh. And God gave me that gift and didn't give me a lot of other gifts. So I should really run with this. Fun facts. I find that fun facts are usually not fun and they're not facts. Yeah, gosh. I just moved back. I just moved back in with my mom. I know. How do I want to say this? I'm going to do a bit about this. I just moved back into my mom's house, but it's okay because she died. So she's not here. Yeah. And Washington, it's so funny because it's kind of like describe your home where you've lived forever. It's like, well, I don't know. It's just like the place. It's home and it's nice to come back to. It is really, really a pretty part of the world. But so is, the East Coast and Canada. And I mean, I love where you're at as well. So, and hey, if anybody is listening and in the Kirkland, Washington area and decides to come to our show tonight, I'll buy you a drink. How's that?
I'm on my way right now.
Okay.
It might take me about 6 hours, I believe.
Uh-oh. We'll wait. We'll wait for you.
Okay, deal. But since you mentioned the word drink, what's your favorite beverage?
Gosh, when I'm drinking, it's probably a Manhattan. And when I'm not drinking, it's a tonic water with cranberry and lime.
Red or white wine?
Champagne.
Champagne, good choice. I was going to say that too. And finally, ask the host CDP a question segment. Do you have a question for the host?
Wow. What is the hardest thing about doing these interviews? Do you ever have people that just don't bring it?
The hardest thing is booking guests and having to be flexible with their schedule and my schedule, and also doing homework. And I would say 98% of the time, I've been very lucky getting guests on my show. I've had some guests at the last minute had to cancel for whatever reason. I still had to go on and do my show. So I always make sure I have a plan B and C. And sometimes, yeah, I had one guest. I don't want to say who their name is. They came on about a year ago, and I thought, okay, they're a famous athlete. This will be a piece of cake. They're a good person and all that, but they just didn't really open up to me. And then towards the end of the show, they opened up to me as well. So always keep your open mind with your guests. And I always try to build a rapport with my guests even beforehand, so they'll feel comfortable coming on this show.
And you do a great job of that.
Well, thank you. And I'm still trying to get better and keep learning and improving. And thank you for the compliment.
Well, thank you very much for having me. This has been really fun.
It's the guests that make the show. I'm just a host, and it's about the guests, and that's what I try to make the show about.
Well, you do a good job. And I love aligning myself with people like you that are doing all the right things in terms of all of your social media channels and all of the things that one should be doing to promote themselves, because my social media presence is just a little bit better than someone that's in witness protection.
Hey, I'll be honest, as much as I love doing it, it is time consuming. If I had a wife and kids, I don't know if I'd be able to do this, because I put in a lot of long hours and a lot of weird hours, and social media is just a lot. But there's a point where you have to take a little bit of break too, and you don't want to burn out. So ideally, I like to try to do about 3 shows with 3 or 4 guests a week, because I've done 5 or 6, and I just rather have quality over quantity in terms of my media work.
Yep. Thank you. So many people are just like, feed the machine. And it's like, don't show me your plate of nachos. Like, it's not just about sharing something. Share something that's interesting. I can wait.
And finally, Meaghan, where can my audience follow you on social media, your YouTube channel, and do you have any plans for a website in the future or even a book?
Well, my YouTube channel is Meaghan Elwood Comedy, and on Instagram, I think I'm under Meaghan Elwood Comedy. And see, I'm not just, this is not just an act. I really am this bad. Yeah, no, Meaghan Elwood. Meaghan Elwood Comedy is my Instagram. Yeah.
All right. Well, Meaghan, I want to say thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time today. Continue success in your comedy career, and hopefully one day you'll come up to Canada or the Toronto area, because we have a lot of great comedians and comedy clubs up here, and I'd love to see you perform live.
Well, let's talk about that, because we go to Nova Scotia every summer. So I will actually be there in the beginning of August.
That's
End of July, first part of August. So let's chat.
That's one part of Canada I want to get to. I've heard so many good things about it, and I'm hoping one day to get out to Seattle, because I'm a sports fan too, and you guys are a great sports city with the Mariners and the Kraken, and the Seahawks, the Mariners, and the Kraken, and hopefully one day the Supersonics too. Again,
wouldn't that be nice? Will Oklahoma give us back the name?
I think they will. I think they will. And who are you cheering for tonight, Oklahoma or Indiana in the NBA Finals?
Indiana.
Indiana? I'm going to pick the Pacers just because you said so.
Okay. Excellent, my friend.
Deal. Well, Meaghan, again, thank you so much for coming on. Continue success. And don't break a leg tonight. Have a great show, by the way.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you so much, Meaghan. And give me a little bit of time tonight, and I will send you the audio, the video, and do a couple reels and clips as well. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, guys, that concludes season 10, episode 52, overall 547 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. Again, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership here in Guelph at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com. I have another announcement to make, guys, before we wrap up this show. The next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, sponsored by barrycullen.com. I have one, but two shows on Thursday, June 12th at 5 p.m. Eastern with my first guest, Jasmine Ellis, a stand-up comedian out of Los Angeles. And at 8 p.m. Eastern, the Small Talk podcast returns with Marlene Sharp and Chris Pame with their special guest, Chica Local. She is a comedian and a wrestling ring announcer as well. So 5 o'clock tomorrow on Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk Show with Jasmine Ellis, a stand-up comedian, a podcaster, and an entertainment journalist out of Los Angeles. And the Small Talk podcast, which returns with Marlene Sharp, my co-host, and myself tomorrow night at 8 p.m. with Chica Local, a stand-up comedian out of Delaware. And she's also now a wrestling in-ring announcer as well. So hope you guys can check in on that as well. Again, I want to say thank you to my guest today, Meaghan Elwood, a stand-up comedian out of Seattle, Washington, for coming on our show. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Right now at Barry Cullen Chevrolet, they're having an employee pricing event at Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership. A 2025 Silverado LD Custom Blackout Edition pickup truck leads from $178 bi-weekly. That's like $89 weekly at 3.9% financing for 24 months with $4,995 down payment on an ultra low kilometer lease. Includes a $5,126 employee pricing credit. More details at barrycullen.com or go down to Barry Cullen Chevrolet again at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall and tell them Chris Pame sent you as well. Guys, I am on Cameo. If you'd like a personalized video message from yours truly, CDP, go to cameo.com, type in Chris Pame, and book in your Cameo today. I do personalized video messages like birthday wishes, pep talks, greetings. You guys can ask me questions about my talk show and my sports media work. Anything you want, just make sure you book your Cameo today through cameo.com/Chris Pame. Also, guys, you can follow me on Blue Sky Social. Yes, I have joined Blue Sky Social at Live with CDP19 on Blue Sky Social. If you're looking to adopt a pet, check out the Cambridge District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0, or visit their website at cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the animals that are up for adoption there, their profiles are available on cambridgehumanesociety.org. And if you're looking to volunteer like I do twice a week as a dog walker, you can fill out a volunteer application form through there as well. And the Cambridge District Humane Society right now is currently looking for dog food, cat food, any kind of treats, cat litter, bedding, Dollarama gift cards. If you're able to help out, that would be great as well. And every Wednesday, the Cambridge District Humane Society has a pet emergency fund for those people in the Cambridge area that are struggling with the cost of pet food. So if you're able to donate pet food, dog food, cat food, whatever, they would greatly appreciate it. And you can drop it off again at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. It's just right across the Cambridge Centre Mall in Cambridge as well. And they do a really great job in looking after our homeless furry friends and getting them adopted into good homes as well. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is live streamed on these platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now on Instagram. And fingers crossed, one day, StreamYard will partner up with TikTok as well. So hopefully we'll get on another platform in the future as well. You can check out my little website at beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. You'll see all my social media sites, my WordPress site where I do all my stories, and you can check out my previous interviews and talk shows through the website, beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme, and make sure you hit the follow notification there as well. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet here in Guelph. And speaking of advertising, if you are a local business out there and you're looking to advertise on Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, the Argo Bounce Podcast Show, or the Small Talk Podcast, you can email me at cpalme19@gmail.com. My prices are reasonable, and I look forward to working with advertising your business on these platforms. So make sure you contact me or DM me on my social media pages as well. Yes, I'm also a content creator. I am on TikTok. You can follow me on TikTok on my new page at Chris Palme on TikTok, and you can check out some of my media coverage of the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame class of 2025 that I just did this past weekend as well. And I will be in Toronto on Saturday to do some media coverage, freelance media coverage of the Toronto Argonauts Calgary Stampeders game at BMO Field. So make sure you check out all my social media pages for pictures, videos, and some pre and post game interviews with some of the Toronto Argonaut coaches and players after the game. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars or live streaming or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. They have basic free plans, they have basic free plans, or they have paid professional plans like I do. And if you're a business and a company that does a lot of webinars or live streaming, go to StreamYard.com and contact their sales department as well. And yours truly has been with StreamYard for over 4 years now, and I give them a big thumbs up. So check out StreamYard.com. Finally, guys, Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, the audio version is available on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, and Good Pods. And make sure you hit subscribe and follow to my audio sites as well for this show. And finally, guys, you can email Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show at cpalme19@gmail.com. Any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback would be greatly appreciated. And if you are a fan of my talk shows and my media work and you'd like to tip the host, I am on PayPal. You can PayPal me at cpalme19@gmail.com if you'd like to tip the host or buy the host a coffee. And I want to say thank you to everyone watching this live stream and on my audio platforms as well. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, everywhere. And also, I want to say thank you to my 625 YouTube subscribers and to 431,000 views on my YouTube channel. So I have grown quite a lot in my YouTube channel in the last couple of years. And I want to say thank you again to everyone for subscribing and for watching my content on YouTube. And I hope you guys realize how much I love doing this. This is a passion of mine as well. And that wraps it up, guys, for tonight's show. Again, I want to say thank you to my guest, Meaghan Elwood, from coming on, a stand-up comedian out of Seattle, Washington. And please follow her on our social media pages. And finally, we have NBA Finals going off tonight. Game 3, Oklahoma at Indiana. Game 3, that series is tied up at 1-1. And I'm going with Meaghan. I think the Pacers are going to beat the Thunder tonight. And the Oilers and Panthers Stanley Cup Finals. I believe Game 4 will take place Thursday night in Florida. I guess they're taking an extra day off. And Major League Baseball tonight, the Detroit Tigers are on the road again against the Baltimore Orioles. The Tigers are now 44-24, 20 games above 500 for the first time since 2013. Tigers Orioles tonight, I believe at 6:35 from Camden Yards as well. That is about it. Again, I want to say thank you to Meaghan Elwood for coming on here today, and to thank you to everyone for watching this live stream and on my audio platforms. Brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership in Guelph. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow, live with CDP at 5 o'clock with stand-up comedian Jasmine Ellis from LA. And then the Small Talk podcast returns with Marlene Sharp, my co-host, and myself tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 on the West Coast, with our special guest, Chica Local, who is a stand-up comedian out of the Delaware, Pennsylvania area, and an in-ring wrestling announcer as well. That's about it, guys. I hope everybody has a great night, and we'll see you back here not once, but twice tomorrow for Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show and the Small Talk Podcast. Thank you to everyone for watching and listening to this show, and enjoy your evening, and we'll see you tomorrow night.